I think that's more suitable for the route that I would want to take. So I was like, I'm not doing the hard news. I don't want to do that anymore, so I'm not going to do it. Why is there a plan B right there?
That's not a real plan B. So Bobby Blaze gifted me that.
Oh, okay,
It's a weed brand.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually off brand. So Sexy Red has this sponsorship with this like weed thing that looks like a Plan B.
Oh,
and
okay.
he thought that was hers, but this is like a knockoff version of that.
Right,
but
cool.
it's not a real Plan
Yeah,
B.
I've never seen that before.
We might have to move that off the
display.
set.
Like, don't even.
But yeah, so you wanted to be a news anchor at first. This guy tells you that you, I guess, have a great voice for radio.
For radio, yeah. So, well, oh my gosh, I've literally lived 10,000 lives. I'm not even kidding. Like, I was going to college to be a news anchor. I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. But then I took a break from college for like a year. I was working a regular 9-to-5 job, like behind a desk. No, it was a call center. It was behind a desk. But I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Get to college. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to school to be a news anchor, like news. But then I realized I really don't like hard news. I hate delivering negative news. Like, I don't like it.
You got to deliver it with a straight face with like no emotion. Well, I feel like, also just side note, I feel like these days, well, like back in the day, you'll see more unbiased coverage where people will just kind of tell you the facts and this is what it is. But I feel like a lot of, especially legacy media, is now just super biased.
Yeah, and it is. I'm not going to lie. It definitely is. I think it's different than it was even 15 years ago. But I think that's also why the news has become a little less popular. Like, they definitely still have a wide audience, and most people, I would assume, are like older who tune into like Channel 13, WTKR, News Channel 3, things like that.
Or at least that's why independent media has became so popular.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because a lot of people like they feel like they can't trust and people say mainstream media, but I wouldn't even call it mainstream anymore because they don't have the mainstream numbers. The independent media is actually what people are watching. So I think now the term is legacy media, which is these generational media corporations, but like people lost trust in them.
Yeah,
so that's why they went to independent media.
It's true. Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I think that's what even encouraged me a little bit because I'm like, okay, I don't have to take this route. I don't have to be a news anchor on the local news or anything like that. I don't have to do that because not to say that it's, good to have opinion or like be biased when it comes to the news because obviously, people have their different opinions, but being able to have your own platform where you can kind of share your ideas behind, okay, I have to give you this hard news, but let me tell you like what I think about it, or let me tell you maybe how we can put a positive spin on it, or what I think you can do to make things better. Like,
we're very much self-taught, so I am interested in like to hear about like some stuff you learned like in school about broadcasting.
That's what's so funny
and stuff like that. Like, what are some takeaways you've gotten from your education in broadcasting?
It's gonna sound so bad.
Why?
Because, like, I applaud everybody who was in school, period, myself included. I think it's important to, be educated. I think it's important to, if you're going to start college, to finish it and to take what you can away from all of the classes that you have to take, all of the experiences you have while you're in college. I think all of that is important. But in certain fields, I do feel as though college is not a necessity. It's not a necessity. A lot of the things that I learned in broadcasting, I learned by myself too. Or I learned being in it, just like doing it, not necessarily in class. The things that I really remember from class, I'm not even kidding. Like, I remember this one specific law that says that if I give one politician airtime, I would have to give another politician equal airtime, which is one of the reasons why I can't have a politician on my show. Because like that's one of the main things that I remember. I remember certain laws. But besides the laws, I'm like, me personally, I've always really been a creative writer, for instance. So if I needed to write a news story, I could write one. I've always known how to speak. That's kind of like, I don't know, I was just kind of born with that. So I didn't learn to talk on the radio. Like I've always, people ask me, how do you get your radio voice? I don't know. I just talk like this, like literally. It's that I learned to edit videos by myself because I used to make YouTube videos. Like,
what kind of YouTube videos did you make?
It's so funny. Okay, so I had a YouTube channel with one of my friends, so we would make vlogs. I had a fitness YouTube channel, so I was making like fitness videos, meal prep videos, stuff like that. And then, you know what? When I was in high school, I was on the morning announcements. The morning announcements for us at my school was also like visual, so I was an anchor, but I also had to make stories. I had to record and make packages outside. Like I, had to take the camera work, do all of that by myself. I had to write the scripts. Like a lot of the stuff I learned over time. Like while I was in college, I think the greatest thing that I got, especially at Norfolk State, were the connections with the professors who have been in the field. Like even in the classroom, they'll tell you, you know, certain things you just learn when you're out there, certain things you learn by talking to people. Like a lot of the stuff in school, when I'm really thinking about it, it's like kind of just doing it for the grade.
Yeah, doing it for the grade. I would say you can't. Yeah, like school time or seat time can't really replace like in the field time. That real world experience like means everything.
For sure.
Like I even know like I'm an electrician as well. So like
really?
Yeah, I just work for
I didn't know that.
Thanks. Yeah, I work for myself right now. But so like I know I've seen people like, well, I didn't go to school for electric. I just graduated high school and went right into it and just
That's
learned
crazy because how do you learn something like that?
Just on the job, like anything else.
Wow.
One step at a time, like one
cool.
thing at a time. But like so I remember seeing people that they went to college for it. They finished college, come to the field and act like they're this badass. They went to college, but they don't know shit.
Period. And that is my biggest thing. Like you go to college and it's like, all right, you got the paper, but do you know what to do when you get out there? That's the first string instrument that I played. But I also play like the ukulele. I feel like most people could play that. Can most people play that?
I can't.
I was about to say, you know what? Like
I don't even know what that bitch looks like, to be honest with you. Pull up a ukulele real quick.
It's like this big. The Hawaiian.
I'm about to Google it.
Ooh,
Oh, a mini guitar? I might look that up.
like somewhere over the rainbow type. Yeah, that one. You talking about a mini guitar?
Let me see. I don't know how to spell that. Ukulele. I'm gonna spell that as close as I can.
Tell me how you.
It looks like a guitar. That's ukulele.
Okay, you know that picture does look like a regular sized instrument. No, it's small.
It was a phase of hip hop where all the rappers did freestyles or like did a cappella versions of their songs to people playing ukuleles behind them.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know about that one. I didn't. I think of that. I think of Christopher Drew, Never Shout Never. That's how I found out about the ukulele. Like,
so you're playing the violin.
Yeah,
dabbling the ukulele.
Yeah, because I was in high school. I was in this thing called Jam Club, and it was just kids who played a bunch of weird instruments. Like,
I forgot. I forgot who it was. There was I forgot who the radio host was. It was some older white guy. Was it Larry? Wasn't Larry King a radio host? Was it Larry King?
At one point.
I think it was him. He was in an interview, but he was like the very first broadcast he ever did. He was like just was super nervous, super scared, and he got on the radio and was just honest with the listeners. He was like, "This is my first ever broadcast. I just want to let you guys know I'm like really nervous and like I'll probably make some mistakes." But he was like, that is actually what made people fall in love with him.
Yes, I kid you not.
Being honest.
Like that's the best thing you can do, and it's not even. Well, for me at least, it's not intentional. But even when I'm about to, I did the same thing for my first ever interview. Like when I had to interview this band from the 90s called Troop. It was my first ever celebrity interview. And I literally told them when they came to the station, I was like, guys, I'm scared. I was like, look, I've never done this before. So bear with me. Don't judge me. Like, let's just, like be easy on me. So if I stutter a little bit, don't mind that. I've just never done this before. But there's something about vulnerability that is so beautiful in humanity. I absolutely love vulnerability. I love when you're just honest about things. Like if you're scared, then say that. Or if you don't know what to do or don't know what you're doing, say that. If I mess up on air, I won't skip over it. I'll be like, y'all, I can't talk today. Literally. Like it's something about that. It's true. People do like level with vulnerability.
Vulnerability I feel like is key. That's so I went and seen a stand-up open mic before, and the level of vulnerability that these like upcoming stand-up comics like showed, it was just crazy to me. Because like when you watch stand-up, we're used to watching these professional people, right? They're these polished hour-long sets, and it's just like professional. They don't really mess up. They don't skip a beat. But when you're watching these upcoming people and you can really see that they're vulnerable and they don't know if that joke will hit, and if it doesn't hit, like the awkward silences, that's what really showed me that like vulnerability translates to the audience.
Because we all experience it. I mean, we're all human at the end of the day. As polished as people like to put on, like, no, we all mess up. We all do things like that everybody else does. Like, it doesn't make any sense. We're all experiencing life at the same time. Like,
also, I think that's what made podcasts so popular.
For
it's
sure,
just an authentic conversation. Like people are being vulnerable. You're just kind of just like free flowing. I'm always saying like I feel like we have a lot of cool stuff going on in the city, but I'm just trying to figure out how can we get the everyday person out here like aware of what's going on. I feel like we do a bad, even us. I feel like we do a bad job at that. Like we're tapped in with the creative people. Like if you're doing something creative in the city, you may know about the Off-Road podcast. But if you're just like a random like plumber or like some random person, I don't know. Like we haven't figured out our way to reach you yet. What do you guys do at Hot 91? Like, any thoughts on that? Also, do you have any information on your demographics? Like, who's mainly tuning into 91.1?
That's another thing. So I'll answer that first. Our demographics are mostly, I find, people between about 25 and 60.
That's a
but most
large
of
range.
them, but most of the people that I talk to during my show, they sound about middle-aged.
Are these people that call in?
People that call in that
Okay.
I have actually spoken to. They sound about middle-aged or older. But I've also spoken to some very young people who are around like my age. And then I've also spoken to people who were like way older than I thought. So, but most of our demographic, I would say, is right in the range of like maybe 30 to 60. I feel like we have older listeners based off of the statistics. We do a lot of marketing and we do a lot of partnerships, a lot of things like that with people outside. And we do a lot of activities on campus even. You know, if there's a activity hour, if there's a, some type of event where we're celebrating the freshmen coming to campus or anything, it's typically us DJing it. But I think people just haven't been paying attention. I couldn't tell you exactly why. I don't know why. I don't know why it's new though that we're really starting to pull people in. But I think it's because we're using the students, excuse me, and myself at the station. Well, I'm a student too. Anyway, using us to like start talking to the demographic of people that we see day to day, in class or whatever, like just start kind of pulling them in because like you might think on the radio station, this was just old people on the radio. Like, no. I'm on the radio, and I'm actually, pretty lit. Like, we have fun. So it's
lit,
like,
yeah.
I think that we could do a better job at marketing ourselves, at, like you said, just being more, just participating more in things that have to do with creatives, things that have to do with the plumbers, things that, just making it known that this is something that's a blanket. It's really for pretty much everybody, especially when it's something like a radio station where you go there to get your information, to get your news, to get your entertainment. It's a blanket thing. It's like, that's what it is. A lot of people forget that radio, had its roots, like really small radio stations were the most important because it's about community. A lot of people, forget that your radio personality that you listen to, most of them, not the syndicated ones, but like me, for instance, we live in the same area. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about building community. Your community should feel the impact of, your community should feel the impact of, having that person that is delivering the news to you consistently.